I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya.
Palm Coast, the public health officials in town just really appreciate what you've done.
That's Flagler County Health Officer Bob Snyder reacting to Palm Coast City Council's unanimous decision to pass a mask mandate amid rising coronavirus cases. He called it a courageous step, though it has no enforcement measures behind it.
The evidence and the science, without a doubt, shows that facial coverings, in addition to widespread testing, contact tracing, social distancing, are the measures that we have before us to truly put a break on the spread of COVID-19 in our community.
Snyder says he hopes other communities will follow suit. Text to 911 brings law enforcement to the aid of a domestic violence victim. Tony Magoo has the story.
In February of last year, the Flagler County Board of County Commissioners and the Flagler County Sheriff's Office announced that text to 911 was available in Flagler County. Text to 911 is the ability to send text messages to local 911 call centers during an emergency. With us this morning is Flagler County Sheriff Rick Staley. Sheriff, you recently received a text from a Flagler Beach woman.
Over the July 4th weekend, we had a prime example on why we did it.
What was the situation there?
The victim of domestic violence was afraid to call that her abuser might hear her calling the police and would attack her again.
Dispatchers were able to track the call location to a residence in Flagler Beach, where the Flagler Beach Police Department made contact with the victim. Following their investigation, Flagler Beach police officers arrested the man and charged him with domestic battery. Remember to call when you can, text when you can't. For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
WNZF's John Arking continues to profile candidates for the 7th Circuit Public Defender position. Today, he takes a look at Matthew Metz.
The race for the 7th Judicial Circuit, which includes Volusia, Flagler, St. Johns, and Putnam counties, features 3 candidates on the August 18th ballot: Anne Marie Janusa, George Burden, and Matthew Metz. Metz tells WNZF that he grew up in Daytona Beach, eventually going to the University of Florida, where he graduated with a business administration degree before going to Florida State University for his law degree. Metz says the legal profession runs in his family.
I have a grandfather who was an attorney up in Chicago. He represented some big-time people up there, and as I got older, you'd hear the war stories and some of the really interesting things he got to do, and I thought that, I think that's something I'd really like to pursue. When I got to law school, I didn't really know how I was going to move forward, but when I started doing some work with mock trial, and that got me onto the criminal side of it. So you'd hear about these cases, and that's when I decided I wanted to try criminal law.
When a defendant in a criminal case can't afford a lawyer, the job of defending the accused is the responsibility of the Office of the Public Defender. Metz was asked what would make a good public defender, to which he said it would be a mix of both compassion and tenacity.
The Public Defender's Office is an office that's always going to be at least slightly underfunded. We're always going to have a few more cases than we should. So you have to have someone who's got that passion, that hunger to go and do the best they can for their clients. But it can't be a purely numbers game. It can't be for winning. You have to understand there are real lives at stake, and the people who we represent, we may be their only voice in the entire world.
Because all of the candidates running for the 7th Circuit Public Defender are Republicans, the August 18th primary will be the election. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Arking.
When your wallet's low on cash, what do?
You cut out some things. That's what the state's done as it faces a budget shortfall. State Senator Travis Hudson, who represents the 7th District, which includes us in Flagler, St. Johns, and northern Volusia counties, said they saved Mednex.
They worked diligently with the senators and representatives and said, if you had to narrow it down, because we're going to make lots of cuts, what do you think is the most important projects in your area? And this is something that obviously the community was behind. It's going to have long, everlasting positive effects from both the economy standpoint, but also the healthcare industry in Flagler.
Hudson said that the work with the governor and his people, which was done behind the scenes, kept Governor DeSantis from vetoing the project. To listen to more of the interview with our state representative and our state senator, download the Flagler radio app and then go to the Free for All Friday podcast. Tomorrow, some talk of face masks. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Deb Albertson.
The Flagler County Library continues lending out books during the coronavirus pandemic. If you can say one good thing about the pandemic, it created the perfect opportunity to stay at home and read that book you've been meaning to read for the past year. The problem was that most libraries closed their doors at the same time. Carl Landry, president of the Friends of the Library, tells us it was different in Flagler County.
Flagler County Library stayed open. You can call Flagler County Library and request a book, and they will pull the book for you, let you know that they have it. You drive up to the front of the library, and they'll bring it out to the front desk in front of the library, and you can pick it up. Just like a restaurant, get takeout service, but it's books instead of food. It's takeout service at the library.
Books that are returned from the takeout system are set aside for 24 hours before being placed back into circulation. The library takeout number is 446-6763. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm Rich Carroll.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.